This was once the biggest Roblox game, but it was abandoned forever, making it die out. Today, we're going to be exploring 5 games that are fully abandoned. Prison Life was launched back in May 2014 by the developer Ascetical. The first year was pretty quiet, but 2015 is when it really started to take off, and no one knew at the time this game would change Roblox forever. In 2015 it hit the front page and started gaining a few hundred players. From this point on, the game would explode in popularity, and the developers kept updating it, fixing problems, and adding new stuff which kept players engaged. By 2019, it had reached over 1 billion visits and had thousands of active players, and now sits at 2.5 billion visits. But every year, this game seemed to be updated less and less, and eventually it reached a point where it was abandoned, causing it to lose most of its audience. What happened? Why would a developer abandon a game this viral? To understand what happened, I logged into my secret account to investigate and interview the players. Prison Life is a fairly simple game. There's criminals and cops. The goal is for the criminals to escape and for the cops to try and stop them. There's also a bunch more to do after escaping, such as getting cars, helping others escape, and much more. Right when I joined, there was already a huge problem. This game had so much exploiters in it, it was almost impossible to do anything. Eventually, I found someone to interview, but it didn't go as expected.
How long have you been playing this game?
This is not my main. I would say I played it for like 1 year on my main.
Do you know why it was abandoned?
And before he could answer, an exploiter out of nowhere shot me. He still gave me the answer after.
There is no updates at all in 2018.
So it seems like this developer stopped updating the game a few years ago, and because of that, the exploiting issue got worse. Another player I spoke to gave a similar answer.
How long have you been playing this game?
A long time.
Why did the dev abandon it?
He wants to enjoy his life and hackers.
Hackers ruined it.
Yup.
It got too much for the dev to handle.
It's hard to find a server without one.
So it seems like the exploiting issue got so bad that the devs just moved on. Not only from the game, but Roblox in general. Let's investigate deeper to see if this is the true answer. The creator Ascetical joined Roblox back in early 2014. Prison Life was launched just 5 months after, and it's really one of the only games he's made during his time on Roblox. During the peak of this game, he did talk about making another game, but that never happened. After launching Prison Life, his life changed forever as the game started taking over Roblox. However, by 2017, fans noticed the game was being updated less and less, and eventually over time, the developer abandoned the project. Why? Well, what the player said was true. It seems as if he just wanted to enjoy his life. The old description for that game mentioned how he started university in 2017, which is why he couldn't spend much time on the game. So the developer just had other plans in life, which also explains why they're not that active on Roblox anymore. And now, the developer just comes online here and there to fix some glitches, but they're just focusing on life outside of Roblox. Overall, the developer abandoned the game, which caused more exploiters, which left this game to die out. A crazy ending, but our next story is even crazier. The normal elevator was launched back in early 2015 by a developer Now Do the Harlem Shake. Right when the game launched, it was an instant hit. 4 months later, it already had millions of visits and was being updated constantly. The developer was on top of the world, but this was only the start, and the game would blow up from this point on. A year later, it was on 24 million visits. The next year, hitting almost 100 million visits. It was growing at a rapid speed, and we're going to get 544 million visits over time. This developer had everything, but 9 months ago, something really weird happened. The developer randomly made the game uncopy locked, which now means anyone can download the entire game and do whatever they want with it. And this kind of marked the end of the game, as the developer abandoned it from this point on. What went wrong? Why would the developer just abandon the game and let anyone take it? Well, let's see if players have an answer. Firstly though, if you aren't aware, in this game everyone's put in an elevator, and every round they're transported to a new floor. Each floor has different scenarios, mini games, and much more.
How long have you been playing this game?
2 years.
What happened to it?
It stopped updating.
Why did the dev stop?
I don't know.
So many players know the game was abandoned, but don't exactly know why the developer did it. Other players I spoke to said the same thing.
How long have you been playing this game?
Maybe 2 years.
Why did the dev abandon it?
Honestly, who knows?
But then I realized something sad. Most of the people left playing are people who've already been playing the game for years. They saw it in its peak and saw it get abandoned, and it seems like most of them still play as they miss this time period, and all the good memories they had with it.
Are you sad to see it abandoned?
Kinda.
Do you miss the game?
Yeah.
Players miss the game, and they've been kinda left in the dark as they don't know what caused it to be abandoned. So let's investigate deeper to see what the true answer is. The developer, Now Do the Harlem Shake, joined Roblox all the way back in 2013. Right away he started creating a ton of games, so it was clear he loved development. However, none of these games really took off. He launched game after game, and despite most of them failing, one would stand out, that being the Normal City, which would get over 1 million visits. With this popularity, he would continue the Normal series, next year launching the Normal Elevator, which actually started to go viral on accident, likely due to how unique the concept was at the time. And once he started taking the game seriously, it would change his life forever. But it wouldn't last forever. A few months ago, he abandoned the game along with making it uncopy locked so others can learn from it. No other reason was provided besides him just wanting to allow people to learn from it. But some speculate it's also due to Roblox's audio update. Around this time, Roblox change audios forever, making all audios longer than 6 seconds private due to copyright issues, which ruined a lot of old and classic games, including the normal elevator. See, in the game with every level, along with the craziness, they typically play several audios, which was a core part of the game, but this was now ruined due to the new Roblox update. So it seems like due to the audio issue and in general the game getting old, the dev moved on, and even gave the game away so others can learn from it. They have since had another viral game in Shadow Boxing Battles, which has over 317 million visits. Weirdly though, this too seems abandoned, but the dev is working on other projects and is still finding success. A good ending, but the same can be said for our next story. Super Doomfire was launched back in late 2019 by developers Polyhex and Blue Tree Frog. It's based on the classic brick battle Doomfire, which was popular back in the early days of Roblox. The game is about being the last one standing, and doing this by destroying every other team's spawn points and killing them. Super Doomfire was a redesigned version of the classic game for the modern Roblox market, and it blew up. In just a few months, by the end of the year, it had millions of visits and thousands of active players. The game would continue blowing up from this point on as they kept updating it, now having over 217 million visits. But despite the success, players started to notice something. Every year, the developers just updated it less and less. This chart shows how many general updates there were every year. The first few years, they updated it a ton, but something happened in 2021. And now, the last listed update was back in 2022, and the game hasn't been touched since early 2024. To find out what happened, let's hop in and ask the players. Right away, there's a huge problem. There isn't much time to relax in this game, as it's very fast paced, so I struggled to find someone to talk to, until I found this player, who actually friended me and invited me to another game so I could interview them.
How long have you been playing Super Doomspire?
Oh, 1.5 years.
Have you noticed the game get abandoned?
Yes.
Why? What happened?
The owner is focused on another game he is making.
Which game?
Find stuff or something.
So players know what happened. It seems like the developer moved on from this project to focus on another game, and sadly, even though it's been a while, a lot of them still have hope it will update soon since they missed the game.
Are you sad to see the game abandoned?
Yes, no one posts videos about it anymore.
How come you still play it, even after it died?
Cause the community is trying to bring it back, and it's fun.
Do you think the devs will come back and update it, or is it over?
They will update it soon.
Confirmed or just speculating?
Speculating.
So fans of this game are really hoping the game comes back soon, even though they know it's been abandoned for a while. If we investigate deeper, what this player said was true. One of the creators, Polyhex, started working on another project in 2021 called Find Everything, which explains why updates started slowing down in 2021. This game is still a work in progress, but they're still tweeting about it and it seems to be their main focus. Sadly, with these developers moving on, it's left behind a community of players who've been playing the game for years, hoping the update and bring the game back. Because also due to it being abandoned, the player count has dropped heavily. If you thought this was crazy, our next game has billions of visits and was abandoned. Because it's Dungeon Quest, which is over 2.2 billion visits, and the story is pretty crazy, because it switched owners and both owners abandoned it. This is the original creator, vCafe, who launched Dungeon Quest in late 2018, a game in which you go through different dungeons that vary in difficulty, and you can work on upgrades, get better items, weapons, and much more. In just a few months, this game will start blowing up. You're already getting around 50,000 active players and millions of visits by early 2019. The developer was on top of the world, and every year the game would just grow bigger and bigger. By next year, they had already reached 1 billion visits, but by early 2023, the developer had a tough decision to make that would change everything. He was approached by Voldex, a studio that buys and takes over Roblox games. They currently own games like Brookhaven, Driving Empire, and much more. Voldex wanted to buy and take over Dungeon Quest. This developer now had a tough decision to make. He could either take the money and abandon the game he created and spent so many years on, or turn down the offer and continue working on the game. Now, by this point, the game was starting to die out a bit, so as you can guess, he chose the first option, and Voldex took over Dungeon Quest, which was met with some drama, as fans of the game were concerned for the future, and many even thought this was going to be the start of the end for the game, and sadly, they were right, because Voldex themselves abandoned this project 2 years later. Earlier this year, they announced that the team is focused on other projects now, and that they're only going to come back to fix bugs, and from this point on, that's all that happened, and it seems that the game won't receive major updates anymore. It makes sense why the original creator moved on from this project, but why did the new developers abandon it as well? Well, let's see what the players have to say.
How long have you been playing this game?
About like a good 3 weeks.
Are you aware it was abandoned?
Yes, I am, yet still holds memories when I had my old account.
Once again, a lot of players left in these games are people who've had such good memories with the game that it's hard for them to let go, even if the developers already did.
Why did the devs abandon it?
While everyone found new interest, I would say, guess it was just forgotten.
This player brings up an interesting point. What he said is true. The game has lost players and died out over time, and like they mentioned, that could be because of players getting older and losing interest. This game has been around for over 6 years now. Eventually people move on. Nothing lasts forever.
Do you miss the game?
I miss the old games, wish they felt the same like they used to, fun, exciting, and with our chaotic friends.
Do you think they'll come back, or is it over?
Depends, Roblox isn't feeling the same no more. I guess we're just growing up.
Typically when games get abandoned, everyone mentions how the developers ruined it, but this player was different and he brought in a new perspective. We're all getting older. Roblox will never be the same as it used to, and not because the platform is changing, it's because we're changing as humans. As we grow older, our lives change, our priorities change, our responsibilities change. Roblox will never feel the same because your life is so much different than when you were younger. People are always upset when games get abandoned, but don't realize that at some point you have to move on. Let go and move on, because sometimes it's for the best. And it seems like that's what happened here. The original developer moved on, and the new developers also moved on because it didn't seem to work out. Ever since he took over the game, it didn't really go back to what it was, and just kept losing players over time. And as mentioned, they own a ton of games. They literally own the biggest game on the platform, Brookhaven. So there's no point in trying to revive this game, and it makes sense to just focus more attention on the more popular games. A crazy story and ending, but our next story is the craziest yet. Because it's Bakers Valley, which hasn't been updated in over 5 years. The game was created by Roy Stanford back in 2017. As the name suggests, it's a game about baking cakes, but you can also do more like buy a house and more. When this game launched, it was an instant hit. In just a few months, it already had 17 million visits and thousands of active players, and it would go on to get 193 million visits over time. This game was super viral and popular, but in just 2 years, the developer would abandon it forever. Let's ask the players to see if they know what happened.
Have you been playing this game for a while?
Yeah.
Have you seen it abandoned?
I don't know, it's kind of forgotten.
Do you know what happened?
I don't know.
So players recognize the game got forgotten over time, but don't exactly know why. And in general, people don't really know what happened. But once we investigate deeper, the answer becomes pretty clear. As mentioned, this is the creator, Roy Stanford, and he's one of the craziest developers ever. Why? Well, he actually has done this several times. He's created many viral games and abandoned them. It started early on with one of his first hits in Cops and Robbers, which got millions of visits, but he abandoned it just a year later. Next, he had an even bigger game in The Living Dead with over 21 million visits, which he later abandoned. But it gets even crazier. His next game was the iconic Redwood Prison with over 295 million visits, but once again, he abandoned this as well. After Bakers Valley, his next game was Spider, which is over 2.6 billion visits, one of the biggest games on the platform, but even a game this popular he abandoned. As you can see, he always moves on, no matter how popular the game is. It gets crazier because his next game after this was Rainbow Friends with over 4.3 billion visits, and even a game this popular seems like was abandoned, since it hasn't been updated in over a year. Roy Stanford isn't that active on Roblox either, typically going offline for weeks to a month. As we can see, Roy Stanford abandons his projects very often and moves on even if they have billions of visits. He's constantly working on something new it seems like, so it's no surprise Bakers Valley was also abandoned. Overall, many Roblox games get abandoned, and sadly, they usually leave behind a community who can't let go of the game since they have such good memories with the game, and even after years, they still hold on hope that the game will come back one day. But like that one player mentioned, we're all getting older and changing, so sometimes the best thing to do is let go and move on. Everything eventually must come to an end one day. Nothing lasts forever. Please subscribe if you enjoyed. Comment some more abandoned games I missed, and if you want to watch me explore more Roblox games, click on the playlist here, and I'll see you in the next one.